Warning. If you're a snowflake or get easily offended or triggered,
Please end this transmission now, otherwise stay tuned.
welcome to Weird and Woke. With your hosts,
Austin.
and Basil. But prepare to be awoken.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to another episode.
Hello, it's been a while.
It had. Last episode would we talk about like socialism and everything.
Yeah, it was about the election. I mean, by the time it goes up, you're gonna be like, nigga, you hella late. But
Right. Oh well.
but you know, it's all
It
about
happens. There's a little bit conspiracy in there too, so
a little bit of knowledge in there, a little bit of food for thought.
we're just trying to get these episodes recorded for y'all. Have a little something to listen to while everybody's going insane.
Yeah, you know, there's still some people now just stuck at home because the whole fucking outbreak, can't find jobs. I mean, there are jobs out there, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can get that job. Like, that's one thing I hate when people say, "Oh, there's jobs out there." It's like, yeah, but those jobs can turn you down, nigga.
Right. Like, not everybody's gonna hire you.
Like, you know,
You could, especially if you're smoking weed, a lot of weed.
that, yeah.
You might not be able to pass piss test.
They'd be like, can you take a drug test? It's like, can you give me 2 to 3 weeks?
Right. How about no?
I'd be like, oh, see, my mom's in the hospital. What they got to do is taking a drug test, nigga.
Right. Oh shit. But yeah, just this episode is gonna be. We have quite a few different topics we're gonna talk about, but before we get into that, we just have a little bit of kind of random stuff. We're trying to do a little something different.
It's called
Just to
story
kinda-
time, baby. Story time.
Story time.
Where either myself or Austin will tell an interesting story we think you guys might like to hear before we get into the nitty-gritty of our topic.
Yes, just to kind of bring some extra parts to the show.
Yeah.
So yes, story time. Welcome to story time with your host Austin. Okay, well, so today, obviously, if you are listening to Weird and Woke, you know we are also a clothing brand. So I was at the UPS store today, and everybody is kind of going insane. Everybody's scared of what's going on with the whole virus thing. I can understand that, but at the same time, it doesn't really bother me, so I'm not really too worried about it.
Same.
So we'll go to the UPS store over here. On the door it says 5 people, I guess, are only allowed in the store because they're running at 50% capacity or something.
Okay.
I don't know. It's kind of cold out, so I was like, I'm just gonna go in. There's this older woman there. I couldn't tell you how old she was. All I know, she was retired. She obviously made that clear. She said that. So she's like,
I don't know, you were like clear as day for a minute, then you just disappeared, then you kept breaking in and out. I don't know if you could still hear me.
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now. It might have just been Discord. Fuck it up. Like, just
Okay.
start over, my nigga. Start over.
Okay. So where was I? Yes. So I was at the UPS store. Sorry about that, guys. I
Yeah.
was at the UPS store, and I walked in. Sign said there was only allowed to be 5 people. There was this old lady. She was retired to my left, and there was another older woman, maybe in her 50s.
Hmm.
She was in front of me. Um, the older woman, the retired woman, she's like, yeah, just come over here and stand behind me. And the other lady kind of just got an attitude. She's like, well, it only says 5 people allowed in the store. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Oh boy.
It's always that one
She's
person.
like, yeah, yeah. I was like, yeah. So the old woman started ranting and getting like, I mean, she's older, so she kind of doesn't care about anything. Obviously,
Yeah.
she just starts ranting about stuff like, oh, these inconsiderate people. These people just don't care about. They only care about themselves and all this stuff. I was like, right, right. Like I wasn't trying to start no like drama or anything.
Right. Right.
And like it's like, oh my god. Like the other reason that other lady was like freaking out was because of, like I mean, I understand on the door it said 5 people in the store, but you don't need to go all crazy about it and like be scared. We're not all gonna fucking die. Like there's people that have gotten the virus that have survived. Like if unless you have a weakened immune system, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be fine.
Definitely. That or
Like
some pre-existing disease or condition you either did know or don't
right.
know about.
So I was like, just calm down. And the old lady, the retired lady, she just kept going on and on. And I was just standing there like, right, right, yep. And then after a while, she finally stopped like going crazy. And then while we're in the store, she just kind of, I don't know if she's bored or what. She's just trying to get everybody's name. Like, and like the one lady that was helping her, she was like, what's your name, ma'am?" She's like, "So and so," and then she's like, "Oh, God bless you, thank you." I was like, "Okay, she might have lost her mind. I don't know."
She's like, you know what? I feel like starting some shit today.
Right, right. I was like, "What is going on? I just want to ship these damn hoodies out."
Right, right. And you got that one person
Uh,
who takes the rules to heart.
right, like calm down.
Like, I get it. It's there to make you, I guess, it's there to make you feel safer. It's no guarantee it's going to help you fight this virus. It's just there to make you feel safer.
Right, like
But,
to me, I see it as a recommendation. Like, but then I guess while I was getting stuff, um, getting my stuff shipped and getting everything set up, people just kept coming in the store.
right, right, right,
So there was like at least 8 or 9 people just behind me
right,
standing in the store.
right. Like, I can't
And
tell you how many times I go to places and it's like, it may not be like the whole capacity thing, but it'll be like, you must be wearing a face mask. And then I'll look around and it's like, there's like a good handful of people without a face mask. So it's like, evidently you don't care because you're not kicking them the fuck out. So,
right, like
like,
obviously it's not being enforced. So what the fuck?
so at that point, it basically is a recommendation. If you're not going to enforce it, don't get mad
Right,
if people don't follow it.
right. Like I used to go. I mean, I still do, but I'll go to the grocery store over here in Landisville. I don't wear a mask. Like, there's no fucking signs on that says I have to wear one, so I'm not gonna wear one.
Right,
Like,
right,
I mean, obviously, I don't. I'm not. Our brand doesn't sell face masks, so I'm not like pushing mask wearing. Like, you can wear a mask if you want to wear a mask. Like, I'm not saying don't, not saying do. Like, whatever you want to do, but yeah. Anyway.
no, you good because it's like it's just how some people are. It's like they'll hear something on the news or see something in the store or wherever they might go and they'll like take it to heart. And I'm like, you really think this shit is gonna help? It's like if it would, we wouldn't be dealing with the issues we're dealing with right now. And you can't say,
Right.
oh, it's because those few people didn't wear masks. It's like those few people shouldn't have control over the entire populace if most of the populace is wearing the masks. Then at that point,
Right. Like,
the virus should have died out. That it shouldn't have spread if most of the people were wearing masks.
And if they were really worried about the spread, they would fucking shut down the borders.
Well, it's like that in the fucking states. It's like I can't tell you how long PA is. PA, as far as I know, still isn't officially shut down. Like there was a thing in place, and that ended Monday. That ended January 4th. Where
Oh yeah.
some of the places shut back down again, but it was like it's just a few places. It's not like, hey, Lancaster in general shut down, or Harrisburg in general shut down, or God forbid Pennsylvania shut down. It's like, no, we're gonna shut down a few food places and a few public places, and hope that does the trick. Like,
what is that? That makes no sense.
You can't get mad if the shit's still here if you're not gonna fully, enforce what you think you should be enforcing to get rid of it.
Right, like I don't know. Everything's ass backwards.
It really is.
Oh man.
But that was an interesting story.
Yeah,
I can't say I haven't had like someone go off on me, but I've seen people go off on other people for not, supposedly following the rules and or guidelines, whatever you want to call them.
And I'm like, I'm open-minded and like see things differently, and I'm not like brainwashed by the media. So when I see stuff like that, it's just like, yep, sure, whatever. I don't care.
Right. You gotta look at it this way. It's like this shit started like, there were stuff about it like last December, and I don't mean like December 2020. I know we're in the new year. Well, I'm talking like December 2019. Like that's when that shit started up, and then it wasn't like really officially announced. Like at least it didn't hit. What was it, U.S. or Pennsylvania or whatever? It didn't hit us until like February or March, but it was out there.
Yeah. So I think everything started fully closing down around March.
Yeah, so it's like between that time all the way up till now, I was like, I haven't got it. Call me lucky, call me whatever. I'm not gonna lie to you and be like, oh, I follow every guideline, because I don't. Because sometimes they just irk the fuck out of me.
Right.
So it's like, like I said, you can say I'm lucky. You could just say, hey, look, you must have a really strong immune system, and I do. I'm fucking young, and I very seldom get sick. Seldom get sick. Like someone has to be physically on top of me, just in my face with their sickness for me to get sick.
I very seldom French kissing them or something.
Yeah, so it's like I know I have a strong immune system, so it's like I obviously helped played a part into it. But it's like
he's got the immune system of an elephant.
Yes, an elephant. But it's like you just hear shit like that, and you're like, oh wow, how'd you do that? It's like it's called just having a strong immune system. You want people to wear masks and stay indoors, and it's like, well, okay, sure, that may be what you think that helps prevent from getting the virus, but at the same time, that could also be weakening your immune system to where you're more prone to getting the virus. If you're staying indoors all the time wearing a mask, it's like the reason why you build up a strong immune system in the first place is because you're in the fucking elements. It's like how people build up resistance to cold, people build up resistance to heat, people build up resistance to pain. They take it in small doses. Where it's like I'm out every day, breathing in whatever's in the air that helps build your immune system, moving around, working, exercising, any little thing can help build your immune system. But then it's like you tell people to stay inside, don't go anywhere, wear a mask every time you go out. And then even in places where they'd be like, hey, look, if you're gonna have people over, wear a mask in your house. I'm like, nigga, you got me fucked up if you think I'm gonna wear a mask in my own goddamn house.
Right.
So it's like I said, I'm not telling people don't follow the guidelines. I just say do what you feel is best for you. Right. The way I've been handling it, it's been working for me. Like if I'm around a large group of people, I'll wear a mask just to make them feel better. But if it's like a few people here and there, then it's like, look, I'm not gonna waste my time putting this shit on. And then it's like, for those who wear glasses, this shit is annoying because it fogs up your fucking glasses every time you breathe. So it's like you want niggas to wear masks, make masks that work with people with glasses. Then I'll consider it.
Right. We'll survive.
But that was story time.
That was story time with Austin and Basil. We might just make a sound clip for something like that. I don't know yet.
I don't know. We're starting to, like I said, we're trying to also be a little bit more creative. So, if it's like new shit you be seeing here and there, that's us trying to throw in a little something, be creative.
Yeah, just to, spice up the show a little bit.
Yeah. Just so you don't hear us just talking. It's like, hey, throw a fucking sound clip in there, nigga.
It's just not us ranting on about things.
Yeah.
Even though that's what we do, but oh well. Welcome to Weird and Woke.
There you go. We make you laugh, we make you cry, we make you think, we make you fight.
All of the above. But yes, so before we get into our main subject, there's a few updates I want to put out there. Also, if you're listening to the show, WNWPOD is our discount code for listening to the show. Put that in at payment option, or has a discount code.
Put it
But
in at
when
the
you-
checkout, cuz at checkout.
Yeah, at checkout. That is WNWPOD. That's 15% off at checkout.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then we have some new stuff we did. We updated our logo for all of Weird and Woke. So now if you see it's like a universe symbol with like a third eye. That is our logo for the clothing brand, as well as the podcast, as well as pretty much anything that will be Weird and Woke. It's a universal brand. We will be having some new people underneath the Weird and Woke umbrella, possibly. We'll have some Insane is the name. We'll keep you updated on that. That is a friend of mine. That is his clothing brand. That'll be underneath the Weird and Woke umbrella, and then also possibly Keystone Creative. I'm in the works with possibly bringing them over to our website as well.
Okay. I see you making big moves.
Yeah, just trying to get the name out there and also, help some other people with their ideas and dreams.
That's how
Just like I'm.
that's how we should be, bro. Build each other up, help us get to higher statures. You know?
Exactly. We also have our first sponsored artist. He's a rapper. He goes by Billboard G. If you want to look him up, just look up Billboard G. He is also on, where's he at here?
He's on Spotify, YouTube.
Spotify, YouTube.
Is he on Apple Music? He might be on Apple Music. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have an iPhone.
I think he's on Apple Music as well. If you want to follow him on Instagram, that is Billboard_G. You can follow him on Instagram. And we also have two other people who are I wouldn't say sponsors. I would say ambassadors for the brand.
Okay.
We got Diamond, Duba the Grand. I believe it is Duba. Let's see, yes, Duba the Grand. DOOBAHTHEGRAND. Duba the Grand on Instagram. That is one of our ambassadors.
Okay.
And then we have see me on the TV. That is another musician.
I like that name.
Yeah, so his initials are CME. And then on the TV, I guess it's just kind of the whole thing. So CMEONTHETV. That is another ambassador for the brand. So if you want to go follow him as well on Instagram. Yes, so...
Speaking of Instagram and following, check us out on Instagram and Twitter. I forgot what our name is because I haven't been on there in a minute, but we have an Instagram and a Twitter. If you ever
do have an Instagram.
If you want to send us, ideas, topics, want to get on for a future episode, or just want to chat,
Yes,
we got that.
Our Twitter for the Weird and Woke Pod is at Weird and Woke Pod, and I believe for the podcast on Instagram is also Weird and Woke Pod.
All right, cool.
So
Simple.
yeah, we kept it simple. Everything's the same. Uh, I still have the old logo on the Instagram, but I will be updating that. So keep an eye out for that. And also, if you want to follow us on the main page for the clothing brand, that is at Weird and Woke Clothing. Yeah, so that's enough business for today.
Yeah, we had story
Don't want
time and business shout outs. Let's get into the nitty gritty, the topic or topics of today.
to topics.
They all relate. They all correlate together. So don't just think,
Yes.
hey, they're going on a fucking tangent here and there. No. They correlate. You're gonna see us.
They-
You're gonna see us like hop in and transition from one topic to another. Then you're gonna be like, oh my god, they actually kind of they synergize.
Yes, I don't know big words sometimes, so yes.
I mean,
like he said.
sometimes I do, but I gotta give me a minute. Sometimes I can think of that shit on the fly, and sometimes I'll be like,
No, that's like my cousin. My cousin be doing that. He'll comment on stuff on Facebook, and it's like I have no clue what you're talking about,
I'll
bud.
be like, hold on, nigga, let me pull up
But-
Google.
Let me bring out a thesaurus.
I thought the fourth.
The word that I was trying to say.
Hey, but damn, it's like, I'm illiterate. Shut up.
Don't mind me, I got that Tourette's. That stutter. Oh man. But yes. You wanna tell the people what we're getting in today, Basil?
Sure, why not? Today, folks, we're gonna be talking about multiple things. Like I said before, we're gonna be talking about reincarnation, multiple dimensions, dreams versus reality, all that jazz. Which, if you didn't realize it, or if you just might have had a thought about it, they kind of correlate together. Sometimes you don't realize it, sometimes you do. But yeah, that's the main thing we're gonna talk about today. I guess it'd be easy to start off with how dreams work, because that kind of ties into everything else. It's like,
Right.
you ever have times where you just be like, you have dreams, and sometimes you don't remember shit about your dreams. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you dream darkness. Sometimes you dream a whole nother life, a whole nother world, a whole nother reality, so to speak.
Yeah. I definitely have happened. That happened to me last night, actually.
Oh, really? I dead ass can't remember what I dreamed last night. Like sometimes, like I said, sometimes you can remember that shit in vivid detail as if you were there.
Right.
Or sometimes you just don't remember anything at all, but it all depends on where your mind goes. But that's the main
That's
thing we
true.
wanted to talk about today, is like how dreams can actually be a really powerful thing if you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't take too much thought into their dreams. They just be like, oh, that's just my mind filtering shit that's in my head. When, okay, it might be that. It might be just random things that are going on in your mind that it warps into a scenario like a TV show. Or, it could be your mind, theoretically, going to another dimension where you're living out an alternate life or a parallel world.
Right. And it's as if like you mentioned that like sometimes you can't see or remember the dream. I kind of think as if like if it's like dark, like black or whatever, you're so I don't want to go too far before we get into the other subjects, but like just to we'll kind of go a little into it, but then we'll pull back into the dream. So
Okay.
basically, what I believe, so where you have that alternate dimension or parallel universe, basically is when it's black, when your dreams are black, you can't see anything, is when you're actually sleeping in the parallel universe as well. So
I like that
if you
idea.
think, what I mean, like, so say I'm sleeping right now. If I was, obviously I'm not, but
It's like, say I'm sleeping right now. They're like, damn, nigga, you pretty goddamn clear when you sleep. Yeah.
you already know.
I'm a sleep talker, ho.
But no, so say if I was asleep, right? I'm having very like vivid dreams. Then in the parallel universe, then you're seeing all these images and faces and everything, I would say that your parallel body or self is awake and out moving and doing things, as
Exactly.
whereas if it's if you're both asleep at the same time, back to back, to where it doesn't you can't see through the other set of eyes, basically.
Okay, I can see it.
That's kind of my theory, almost.
And that actually that brings up some other stuff. I mean, granted, like obviously it may be like just entertainment purposes, but it makes you wonder because kind of like how that movie I told you a while back, John Carter, where I explained that
Hmm.
to you basically, like how what happens is he has this device that allows him to basically telegraph and creates another copy of himself on another world. And while he's on one world, his other body is asleep. Therefore, so it's like whatever he's doing in that one world, like his other body is not moving around. It's just there asleep. So like what he has to do is at times when that happens, he has to keep his other body preserved because if one body dies, the copy dies. So
Right.
it makes you wonder, like, how, like you were saying, like, whereas in your case, like, our parallel selves actually have their own basically life, but we're still linked, mentally, or if you want to think about it, like, even more spiritually based on, like, soul.
Yeah.
So, like, the way that can happen is, like, there are times, like, I have dreams where it's, like, I either have powers or I'm like being attacked, and it's like you ever have those dreams where they feel so real. Like I have those powers and it feels so real, like I literally have those powers. Because sometimes you could
Hmm.
you could tell when it's a dream, and you can sometimes you can't, you really think it's reality until you wake the hell
Right.
up and you're like, what the fuck just happened? But like going back to that whole idea of the whole parallel worlds and there's another version of you, and like there are times where it's like I said, when you get attacked in the dream and you like, I swear to God, I just got stabbed, and it's like maybe that's your other self being attacked right now, and you're feeling their pain.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, you almost feel it in your own body as if it actually happened to you.
Yeah, like I said, because you
Yeah.
guys are linked,
Hmm.
but it's like at the same time you're linked to a sense where you can feel what they feel, but not to a sense where as if they die, you die.
Right.
Like I won't say it like that because that's kind of like I said, going back to the whole John Carter thing, whereas if one dies, the other dies. Hence why he has to keep one of his bodies protected while he's, depending on what world he's in, the other body has to be safeguarded so he doesn't die. But
Kind of. Yeah.
in this,
Kind
like,
of like. You ever watch the movie Inception
I feel like I have a
with
while ago, but I can't say I remember everything.
what the hell is his name? With Leonardo DiCaprio.
I might have watched that. I honestly I can't remember. If I did, it was a long time ago.
Okay. Well, basically, he created like a formula, kind of like obviously a formula, not like scientific formula, but like a liquid that you would put into your system
Mm.
that puts you into like a dream state. And you can control the dream with what goes on, and the subconscious feeds everything else around you. It's kind of like what we're talking about. Like you can see and change and fix and do things that normally in a normal state, awake state, you wouldn't be able to do. It's just kind of like um, if you die in that dream, like if you get shot or something in the dream,
Yeah.
you actually feel like, depending on like, well, so in the movie they go down like multiple, they have dreams within dreams within dreams, and because it's so deep into the subconscious that if you would get killed in that deep in, that it would basically kill you in the real uh world. um Obviously that is a movie, but there's still pieces of it that I would see could be related to the whole parallel universe type dream state.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because like how you were talking about how like basically he created a formula that allows you to dream, but like be in control of the dream. That actually is a legit thing. Not the formula, but the ability to do that. It's called lucid dreaming.
Yes, that is right.
Basically,
Yeah.
where you are fully conscious of your dream and you can control what happens throughout your dream. Your dream is basically a construct,
Hmm.
and you can control it to bend to your will. Which some people can do it on command. Some people have to go through like some type of
It's like
yeah.
meditation.
There's like many ways to do it, but it's like it's a real thing, and it's like it makes you wonder. Just like how you said, like if you die in the dream, you die in real life. Well, it's like if your brain is in control of the dream and your brain registers that pain as real, it's going to tell your body it's real to where your body's going to shut down.
Right.
That's how some people don't realize how powerful the mind is.
That's true.
Like the mind is so powerful, you just don't realize. It's like that's why I say sometimes like when you have those dreams and you feel it's so fucking real, and then it's like you're like you wake up and you're like, holy shit, did I just get stabbed or did I get shot? Like why? And then sometimes you'll still wake up feeling that pain because your body was registering that pain from your mind telling you to feel this pain.
Hmm.
Like you may not
Yeah.
have a physical wound or scar there, but you still feel that pain as if it really happened to you. And truthfully, that's how I believe that some people how they die in their sleep. Like I know I don't want to crush any people's thoughts or ideas where they're like, oh, if someone dies in their sleep, they die peacefully. For all I know, they really could have just died peacefully in their sleep. Like they could have drifted
Hmm.
off. But at times, it's like it makes you wonder. It's like if I'm having these kinds of dreams where I feel this intense pain in a dream to where I wake up wondering if I'm really hurt or not. I can't imagine that no one else would possibly feel that way to their point. Theirs might be much stronger than mine to where they feel it so much that their brain is telling them you are dead. We are shutting down.
Right. Right. Yeah. That I don't even know. Like the way like so I'll bring into kind of like a theory or like a conspiracy you want to call it. So uh you know how many million or thousands of years ago back in like the Egyptian times or
Mm,
whatever, um they had like they have the hieroglyphics, right? They have everything written down on on the pyramids, on the walls, and all this. They tell a story of seeing these creatures and stuff like that. Now, for me, I don't believe as if the pyramids were built by slaves, just because I've seen proof. I've seen, I've done research that they said there is not that many fucking slaves that could pull this size of a piece of stone, to build like that massive of a pyramid.
nah, I feel you. It's like
And
I've never seen
so,
them. Sorry, I mean cut you off, but it's like I've never seen that shit in like real life. But like I can imagine the people that might have seen that, they're probably like, "Oh, look at this beautiful structure." But then you think about it, it's like, how the fuck did they build that?
right, like we can't even do that now. Like,
No, you can't. And then it's like,
so,
not to go off on a tangent, but I'll bring it up. You fucking Transformers 2, the fucking movie. You know how
uh,
like in the fucking movie they went to fucking Egypt and
mhm.
like the pyramids were actually hiding a fucking device that allowed the fucking Transformers to destroy fucking suns. Basically, it's like the pyramids were alien tech. They were used to hide and safeguard their fucking technology. So it's like, oh yeah, humans built this shit. How do we know?
Right. I mean,
I mean,
you really don't.
like,
So you,
the universe is infinite, my dude. You cannot say we're the only life in here and that they haven't visited us before.
hmm so yeah, just to kind of relate it to what we're talking about, like, so your mind is actually very powerful, but because of like the modern day, uh, and like like they put fluoride and everything in your water and all that crap, it calcifies your pineal gland, which is your what they call your third eye. That is like the center of your brain. Um, Basically, is said to have many like uh, not superpowers, I would say,
Hmm.
which, but it is meant is they say to have like powers that obviously we can't tap into now because we don't know how to um, activate the powers. of the pineal gland because of years and years of calcification and obviously not being taught. Whereas back in obviously in Egyptian times, they weren't trying to control the masses and control the narrative to where it's. I mean, obviously you had your pharaohs, but they weren't gonna, and they had slaves and all that, but they weren't to they weren't trying to control and uh, use. I don't even know how to word it, but you know what I mean, like
I got you.
as to where now, like in the modern age, people really have become more stupid. I feel that's
No,
just my
they definitely have. There are times where you look at people and like, how the fuck can you be so damn stupid? And it's
right.
just obviously just to make people more susceptible, so like you can feed them something and
Hmm.
they'll buy it. Like I'm not saying like, oh, if you just believe everything you hear, you're fucking stupid or you're a sheep. It's like it just means that obviously you're just more prone to be molded by someone else than to stand out and create your own shape in a sense.
So like your mind, what Basil was saying, your mind is more powerful than you know to actually be able to, it can. I mean, your mind. They don't even know half the stuff that the mind can do because they just don't even know how to do it. Like
Yeah.
so, the fact that it can is connected with consciousness and your subconscious and everything else that it all is like connected and yeah
Nah.
like here I'll read this part. So the dream state is the state of diminished consciousness in which the surroundings are perceived as if in a dream.
Hmm.
So that's basically saying like your consciousness is thinking it's a dream, but it might actually be like we say like the parallel universe or you know
And truth be told, like honestly, that could be if you really want to get deep into it, there could be a coping mechanism to help you comprehend what's going on inside your mind. You just tell
right.
yourself it's a dream. Like it's like with anything else where people go through a traumatic experience, they find ways to cope with it, and that's like I said, it goes back to how powerful your mind is, where it can develop entirely different scenarios, can block out things to the point you literally do not remember it happening.
That's true.
All that stuff to help you cope. Where it's like there are times where it's like you hear about people blacking out in what we call fugue states. It's where it's a coping mechanism in a sense to help protect your mind. So it's like whatever you do in that state, it won't mentally affect you because you don't know what happened. You don't remember doing it. You just it's like if you were literally asleep.
Mm-hmm.
You were
You're
asleep and you see darkness, and then you wake back up and you're like, "What the fuck just happened?"
it's like I don't even know how that like sometimes when people uh get like real angry or something, they'll start seeing like red or something.
Yeah.
Whereas like they're basically not in control of anything. Like they're not even there almost.
Like I said, it's basically like it's what it's like known as a fugue state, where it's like anything or something can trigger you to where like you black out. It's like, oh man, all I saw was red, and it's like that was your mind helping you cope with what was about to come next, or not even
Right.
so like your mind helping you cope. It was just like your mind just checked out. Your
Right.
your 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 mind, soul, spirit, whatever you want to call it, it went somewhere else while your body was acting purely on instinct.
Which I mean, as long as your mind is basic, your soul and your mind are still inside your body, it can some. I mean, that's almost like a muscle memory. Like it just kind of takes over.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that kind of so basically like we were talking about like if you would die in your sleep, obviously your body is just a capsule of flesh and you know
Organs.
organs, yeah,
Yeah.
that and your consciousness and like your soul basically are they're two your consciousness and soul are two pieces are a piece, and then your body is a piece. They're separated, or they're in one basically right now.
Yeah.
And then when you die, you have your consciousness and your soul, and then your body is just obviously it's just like I said, a capsule or you know a shell,
Yeah.
so to speak. So
Speaking
like
of speaking of which, they may cut you off again. I just had this fucking idea. You know how like you were also talking about how we were gonna tie in like parallel worlds. Like I could see that as another thing, like in a dream state, where at times where you're like I said, you have those powers or whatever. Not there could be a parallel world or another dimension where in that dimension you have abilities. Don't know why you have them. Don't know how you got them. You could have been born with them. Something could happen. You don't remember because you're only visiting that world periodically when you're asleep. And sometimes you don't always go back to that same world because there are times you have different dreams. Sometimes you're going to different parallels, different realities.
right.
And then it's like another thing that made me think about like how we were talking about the whole soul and like the body being flesh. You know how some people are like clinically pronounced brain dead, but they're still alive.
Hmm.
What if it's like at one point in time when your mind goes to that different reality, it can't come back?
Right, it gets trapped.
Like something happens to where like you get trapped or whatever,
Well,
or like you could be
that's
like it's like sometimes it's like I said, when you have people that are pronounced brain dead, or it's like some people that might have like a what the fuck is it, like dementia.
hmm
It's like, you know, they're like, yeah, their brain is deteriorating, they're not remembering who they are. It's like, what if it's like piece by piece their soul is going somewhere else, to where the body is starting to
right.
become an empty husk that it's like operating on like the few things you have. It's like think of it as a computer. Like the main OS is missing. You just have bits and pieces that are in the computer. Like
Hmm.
the computer is just like trying to cope and like figure out how to operate with that main source
Piece
gone.
missing.
So
Right.
it's like, you know, where people will be like that have dementia where bits and pieces of their memory come back. It's like that's because their soul is gone. The brain can retain the memories, but the soul itself is gone. Whereas the brain's just kind of like trying to piece together memories to make it seem like, oh, I'm still here, but I'm really not.
Well, that's kind of like let me see, uh, astral projecting.
Yeah. Where at times your spirit
Um,
can leave your body.
yeah, so that like that's like so they say sometimes when you are so usually it's in your in a relaxed state. Obviously, you can do it when you're sleeping or if you're meditating if you have the practice.
Hmm.
Um, sometimes that to like it basically is kind of like a coma to where your body your astral body is what they call it can't make it back to you're having a hard time basically trying to get back to your physical body.
I can believe that, especially when you think about coma patients. It's like their mind is not essentially there, or like their soul isn't there. It's like it can't make its way back to the body, so the body is just an empty husk.
Hmm. And that too, where you're saying like if their brain is damaged or something, to where the I would say not the frequency, but like something inside the brain that allows you to transfer between the consciousness or whatever. Um, it's broken, so therefore it can't. It's stuck. Part of it's stuck in the other, the other dimension or whatever, or um, and half of like it's basically like your half is here and half is in the other, but you know.
No, I get it. Like even just to like bring up another fictional thing, because like a lot of people be like, "Oh, it's fiction, it's not real," but it's like it has to come from somewhere. Like people don't just come up with this shit. Like who's to say like I said, universe is infinite. has to be more than other races and creatures out there. It's like the things that we come up with today that we try, or not try, but we pass off as our own. It's like, who's to say that's not like other races putting that into our mind? Like, hey, this is something that we created. It's like maybe it's another race saying, hey, look, we're going to give you this. Or it's like if you watch TV shows, like especially like anime, where it's like you see anime about like a character where they'll like the artist will make a anime about a character that has like these abilities and stuff. It's like an alien race. It's like, who's to say that alien race doesn't exist, but they're trying to give us the knowledge. We do exist. We're not going to give you like our, our straight up like info, but we're going to make it to where you're going to think of it like in a cartoony way or anime style way. But you're telling our story. We're telling you our story through this one person, and we're going to have them pass it off as some type of idea they came up with. Not saying it's not always a thing, but it makes you wonder, because it's like some of the stuff they put in like shows and anime. It's like really fucking interesting. Like if you ever seen the CW TV show called The Flash, where like in that show, like there's up to, as far as they know, there's up to 52 different Earths, right? And each Earth, like the people there vibrate at a different frequency. So like legit, they could be like, oh, this person's from a different Earth. Why? Because they're vibrating at a different frequency. Well, who's to say, like how you were saying, like you're stuck here, one there, like at one point in time, while you were on that other place, you started vibrating at a different frequency to where you couldn't return back to your original Earth, or dimension, because you're no longer a part of that frequency anymore. So like it's like that place is rejecting you because you're not a part of that anymore. It's like, if you even want to get like just scientific about it, like if a cell gets contaminated or mutated by a virus, the other cells will start rejecting it because it no longer belongs.
Right, they'll try and get rid of it or whatever.
So like there are times where you'd be like, oh, this person has been announced brain dead, or this person's been in a coma. So who's to say, like at some point in time their soul went somewhere else to where it changed in a sense to where they cannot go back to the original place they were from because they're not a part of that frequency, that wavelength, whatever you want to call it.
Nah, that makes sense though.
And, like I said, it's interesting when you watch a lot of shit like that. That's why I love shows and stuff like that, because they always come up with things and you're like, it may be fiction, but it's like there has to be at least however small it might be, there has to be some type of truth to it. Cause it's
like, how does somebody come up with that idea to,
And then like, okay, you could just throw random scientific terms in there to make it sound smart, but at the same time, it's like I'm sure there are people that actually know like those terms and professions and all that other stuff. They'd be like, well, theoretically, it could work.
Theoretically, that could work. Like that's like you ever watch Ant-Man?
Yeah.
Where they do, what is it, the quantum realm and all that?
Oh yeah.
Where it's like you shrink down past the size of like atoms and stuff, like.
Yeah, and then you just end up going into the quantum realm. It's a whole different dimension.
Yeah, it's basically you're in another dimension. Well, like how somebody's got to be. I would have never thought of just to randomly make something like that up. Like,
yeah, because then when you think about it, it's like, yeah, okay, they're throwing scientific jargon in there just so like us dummies make it seem like it's accurate and or it sounds cool. But then you think about it, it's like, who the fuck just makes that shit up on the fly? Like there has to be some type of scientific like truth to it in a sense, to where it's like, it's like, are we far away from ever doing some shit like that? Sure, but it's like theoretically, it's possible. Like we already know about other atoms and molecules that exist in a whole other fucking subatomic dimension or world. We know it exists. So it's like, theoretically, if we make something shrink to that point where it could start existing in that dimension, it should work.
I mean, like, so the fact that people, like, I mean, I've even heard like people talk about that. Oh, damn! I just lost my train of fucking thought.
My train of plot.
Yeah.
It's like, bear with me, folks. It's my day off. My mind is a little wonky.
Yeah, the quantum realm or whatever. Like, you obviously, like we we're saying, like any of that is possible. You never, obviously, we're not scientists. We don't know, but still, come on, like that's why you got to be open minded to things.
Right, right.
Like,
You know,
but
don't shut down everything you hear just because it's like to you it doesn't make sense. So you're saying it's not real because it doesn't make sense to you.
right, like that's where people kind of like, if it doesn't make sense to you, then it doesn't exist, or it's not real, or
Exactly,
it's not
exactly.
true. So, but that's kind of where they like say the word conspiracy. That's where people put the word conspiracy. They just dismiss it
It's like,
to
oh, that's a conspiracy theory. It's like, I bet you if I was a well renowned like scientist or whatever person in my field and I said this shit, you would think a lot differently. You'd be like, oh well, he has this background, so it must be true. Versus like a guy on the street with a fucking sign and be like, oh, he's just crazy.
right. Like that's yeah. I think we talked about something like that on the last episode, but like it's just like if if you open your mind and you'll start to see things. Like we said, the mind is super powerful, and if you open to your mind to where it doesn't if you don't just shut everything out and just live blindly, you'll start to pick up on things as time goes on, especially in like the time we're in now. Like there's things happening that aren't making sense.
Oh, definitely. I definitely agree with that.
So it's like, but like so we were in. So how do I go to that? Basically, so the astral body, you would say, is your soul and your consciousness, like I was explaining.
Mm.
Like that it's leaving your um, physical body and is able to travel throughout uh, the universe. So obviously, there's a way there. Your mind is your mind. So you have your brain. Your brain is the physical part of the consciousness and the mind, but the mind uh, it can be separated from the brain itself to where it's the shit. I don't even know what a term what that would be, but like it's uh, non-physical. Your consciousness and your mind are non-physical pieces,
No, I get what
and
you're saying. It's just like
it's
you
just
can't think of the terms, but like
yeah.
it goes back to like some people that are like I said, where like some people have like comas or the technical term brain damage. It's like physically, there's nothing wrong with them,
Hmm.
but for whatever reason or another, they just won't wake up, or
Right,
they're just not there. It's like their body is here, but for whatever reason, their mind
but
is somewhere else. Like a lot of people assume mind literally means brain. No, no, no. When we say mind, we're
no,
talking about your spirit, your soul, what makes your body move. Like obviously, okay, there are times where like, oh, your body moves because your brain wills it. That's half right. I believe like there's something else, like I said, your soul that helps it to where it's like there are times where it's like your body's physically fine, but then you're like, well, why the fuck is he not moving? Why is he still asleep? It's like you can't just say it's all physical. There has to be some type of spiritualness to beside it. There has to be something that controls the body.
right. Like
Just
that
like
again. Like that's where like your body is a shell. It's the physical form of your soul, basically.
the
Yeah.
which if you want to even talk about more, that can also lead to our other topic we brought up, reincarnation. Where
Hmm.
at times where it's like you'd be like, oh, reincarnation doesn't exist. It's like, how do we know? It's like there are times where we remember things that we physically should not remember. And
Right.
that's
Like
where dreams come into play again, because your brain is not focused on the day to day things that's going on, and you're in REM sleep where you can delve deeper into your consciousness. You can start accessing things that you couldn't really normally access. So like sometimes dreams where you'll be like, you have a dream, you're like, oh yeah, I was a fucking in samurai armor or some shit fighting somebody, or like if you're a woman, you could be like, yeah, I was like a princess, a part of this fucking dynasty or some other shit. I keep going to like fucking feudal era times, but nonetheless, it's like, or like I was a freaking priestess or an Egyptian queen, a pharaoh, like whatever. Like that could have been your spirit in another life. Like souls, I will say yes, souls can be created. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like, or for all I know, souls could just exist, and that the human body is created, or a physical shell, like you
For
said,
that,
for that
right?
specific soul is created. And like, for all we know, there could be a finite amount of souls, and what happens is every time one dies, we just go to another life. Sometimes we might come back as a human, sometimes we might come back as an animal, sometimes we might come back as a whole nother species and not realize it. And by
Right,
species,
right,
I don't mean like species on Earth, I mean species like in fucking space.
right. Like in another dimension, basically.
That too. And it's like,
Yeah.
the thing is, going back to what you were saying earlier about the chemicals and stuff they put in water that prevents us from accessing like the full capacity of our brain. We can't access the memories.
Mhm.
Some people believe that we are born knowing everything, and as we get older we slowly forget everything.
Yeah, I've heard that too. To be honest,
And it's like,
I make
they're like, yeah, when you're a baby you're born knowing everything. And it's
Well,
like,
I think that has to do with like,
and I wouldn't say like everything, but like you're born knowing like all your past knowledge. Like you can remember everything you've ever experienced. And what happens is as your body gets older, your they'd be like, oh, your brain's developing. It's like, no, if anything, I feel like my brain is regressing. Yes, it's getting older, but what
right.
happens with things that get older? They decay, they become weaker.
Hmm.
So it's like in that state where it's like, yes, my brain might be what you consider to be small, underdeveloped, but at the same time, it's brand new. It has access
Right.
to everything. Like there are
That's
times that people be like in other cultures, they'd be like, oh, a baby did this, where like it did like a fucking a gesture or something.
hmm
And it's like a lot of people like even with a film, something as simple, it's like, how do babies learn to walk? It's because they knew how to walk already. They're reteaching themselves how to walk.
right.
Just like,
Oh,
how do you do anything? It's like you already know it. You're just reteaching yourself to it. Or because like I said, it goes back into reincarnation. The body you're in now doesn't know how to do it. Your mind
hmm
knows how to do it. Your mind is reteaching. When I say reteaching yourself, I mean every time you hop into a new body, it has to teach that body how to do these specific actions.
Right. And I mean, if you're in a womb for 9 months, obviously your muscles aren't going to be strong enough as well to just automatically start stand up and start walking. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
So it's like while your new body is growing stronger, you're like, all right, now's the perfect time to start teaching it how to do these things. Because it's like, it's like, again, like parents will be like, oh yeah, I'm teaching my kid how to walk. It's like, are you teaching your kid how to walk, or are they instinctively learning it themselves because they technically know how to walk? Like, I'm
Right.
not gonna say kids are stupid. Like, no, don't misinterpret that. But it's like, it's a baby. It's like you may be like, oh, the baby understands me. It's like, does it though? It's like, is it just that the baby's instinctively doing this, and it just happens to be doing it while you might be instructing it? So it might give you that false sense that, yeah, the baby's listening to me. The baby's doing what I do. It's mirroring what I'm mirroring. All that other jazz. It's like I said, I've heard that before. I've heard that before.
hmm
Just like I've also heard that, like down to our cells retain all our memories.
Yeah, I've heard that.
To
Like
where,
if you would where like if you would like give somebody an implant or something, the
yeah,
person will feel pieces of
yeah.
like something that you felt or
That's
like
like in some of the shows where I seen like this one chick got like a heart transplant of a fucking killer, and she could feel what he felt from his organ because
oh
his
shit.
cells. I mean, it was a show. It wasn't real life,
Right.
but
But
still,
still.
it's like she could feel what he felt because his cells remember everything.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, that's quite interesting too. Like,
It really is.
yeah.
Like
Like that's what
reincarnation
like if
could be
somebody's
a whole, like all that stuff. Reincarnation, parallel world, dreams. Like I said, it all ties to dreams
Mhm.
because at that point in time, I won't say that's when your mind is most vulnerable. I will say that's when your mind is most open. So you can access things that you couldn't do before. Like
Right. It works at a higher frequency basically when you're not you're not so basically you're free you're when you're awake in your awake state you're running at a different frequency than your mind is at nighttime when you're asleep.
yeah,
Like basically you're not focusing on all the little things going on around you. That's why when you're in a like in Buddhism, when they're meditating, the Buddha, obviously they're just sitting there with their eyes closed, but they're not. Why are their eyes closed? They're not focusing on anything else around them. That's why, and when they're meditating, they are able to reach that dream state. They're not sleeping. They're just accessing that same frequency instead of and like what you were saying, like when to go back to where you're saying when you're born, if you think about it, like you have the knowledge of almost everything, but as you grow old, you start to, obviously you're not going to, your mind's getting older, but you're taking in new things,
exactly. So all your
which
previous knowledge is kind of getting
is
pushed back.
right. Like there's things that, obviously like there's things that I in my past in my childhood, like I'll remember bits and pieces of my childhood, but I don't remember every single piece. Why? Because your mind can only hold so much before it has to dump and upload new information.
Yeah, like I said, our mind is basically a supercomputer. Like
Hmm.
when it reaches capacity, it'll start deleting old things that it feels that are no longer valuable. So like there are times where you'll have memories where you're like, damn, I could just, I was like a while ago, I could just remember this shit perfectly. Now I'm struggling. It's like, why? It's like because at some point in time, your mind determined you have gathered so much new information, we got to start getting rid of old shit.
Hmm.
And that's what also can lead back to like a lot of times where people be like, oh, I'll remember bits and pieces like from an old life. That's because, again, when you're sleeping, you're going to that realm where you're going into a deep consciousness, like spiritually, to where like you're spiritually able to see all of your past lives, to where it's like you can sometimes revisit snippets of those pieces of your lives, and they come back to you as memories in a dream. And then when you
Right.
wake up, you're like, well, why the fuck am I randomly remembering this? Because like physically, your brain might not have access to it no more. Think of it like as a cloud, basically. Like our brain is the hard drive, and our spirit is the cloud. Like once our hard drive reaches capacity, we put the shit in the cloud, so it's always there.
Hmm.
So it's like it's literally what it could be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's like
As it can, there's only so much capacity to where it has to dump and upload to
yeah. And then like I
different.
said, going back to like the reincarnation, depending on how long you live your life, you have roughly 70 anywhere, let's just say anywhere from 60 to 100 years worth of memories, because that's your lifespan. So it's like, yeah,
Right.
when you're reincarnated, you still have those memories, but as you grow older, those past memories get replaced with your new memories of your new life. Those past
Right.
memories are going to, like I said, what we call the cloud. They're going to the cloud. So it's like, yeah, you can at times re-access them through dreams, but because, like I said, like you also brought up again about the whole diluting our mind, we're not on that spiritual level to where we can access those things at will. So we'll stumble upon it by accident in our dream state.
Right. Like, ooh, what was that? Like,
Yeah,
why do I remember this?
yeah, like
Yeah.
you'll wake up having this vivid dream, and you're like, I swear to God that was real. It's like I swear to God that happened. Or like people will be like, oh, deja vu. It's like it could happen. It could be like I said, there are multiple Earths. There could be another you doing the exact same thing, and that's
Hmm.
why you're experiencing that deja vu, because it just happened to another version of you on another Earth, and you never know. It's like I said, it's the beauty of the mind. It's very powerful, and
So I don't know why, but it just like it fascinates me.
No, like
That
I've always been interested like in psychology and like the mental capacity of like the mind, because it's like it makes you wonder. It's like the things you can do with your mind, like how
hmm
strong the mind is, like where people get like depressed, so to speak, and their body becomes physically ill. It's because their mind is making their body feel that way. Your body could be perfectly healthy. Like you go to the doctor and you'd be like, I don't know why I feel this way, and the doctor would be like, well, you're fine. You have no physical ailments. It's your mind telling you to feel that way, so it's making your body feel that way.
Right. The mind is in control of every single piece of your body. Like you move a finger, you're telling your mind's telling you to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's very like I'm not a psychologist or a scientist or anything, but
Nah,
it's something to, just to
I'm just a guy that likes to look shit up on the internet and occasionally have discussions with my buddy here as
yep.
we talk about the fascinations of life, afterlife, rebirth, death, parallel worlds, you name it. Like I said, there's knowledge is knowledge is not only power, it's infinite. There's
Right.
never a time where you could say I know everything,
We
because
actually
the universe is infinite. And then
right.
there's multiple universes that exist as well. So it's like you have an infinite universe. You have multiple infinite universes. There's no way you could ever know everything. Even if you're just in your own universe, you can never know anything because, like I said, universe is infinite. It's ongoing.
hmm And that we actually have a hoodie. I think that's the one I gave you. That has a saying on there. It says, "There is no new knowledge. All is ancient and infinite."
Yes, sir. And
So
I do like that because it's like you think about it, like it may be new to you, but it's always existed. And truth be
right,
told, would it like sometimes where people be like, "Oh, I learned something new today," but at the same time, you'd be like, "I feel like I know this." It's like you don't know why because you did.
right. It then you just you knew it, but at the same time
You didn't know it.
you didn't know it.
It's like when you learn about shit in history class, right? And you be like,
Mhm.
"Damn, this is interesting to know," but for some reason I feel like I know it. I know why? Maybe it's another you in another life that was literally experienced that history.
Right. Like you say you like remember something from World War II or fucking the Civil War or something, like why the fuck do I know this?
Yeah.
Like
It's like another you knows it. And, I don't know how reincarnation works. It's like I don't know if it's like the second your physical body dies, you're instantly reincarnated, or it might be like years, decades, centuries, millennia. Who the fuck knows? Like for all I know, this could be my original soul, like my
Mhm.
original form. It's like maybe this is like the first version of me. There's not been any reincarnations yet, or maybe there has been reincarnations. Because, like I said, there are times I have dreams where it's like I have vivid dreams that feel like memories,
Right.
or it's like at times like those memories could also not necessarily be memories. It could be me going to another dimension where I'm living out that life and it feels like a memory. So like that's the thin
You
line
know
between reincarnation and parallel worlds, where it's like,
you never really
did I live this life before, or am I living it now in another dimension or another Earth? And it makes you wonder because it's like just because we're there are other Earths doesn't mean they operate on the same time axis. They
That's
could
true.
they could be on a whole different timeline to where it's like we're in 2021 AD after death, if you want to, be specific, like the whole Christ thing. There could be another timeline where they're fucking 2009 or like even further back. They could be in 900 AD. We don't fucking know.
Right.
Like there are times that people be like, well, all time is like unbendable in a sense. So it's like no matter where you are in the universe, no matter what dimension you might be, like time always flows on the same axis. And there are some shows that say that's true, and then there are some that say that's not. So it's like we don't know. We as humans cannot accurately measure time. We make up our own rules to help us understand time, but doesn't mean our ways of measuring time are correct. Like what we call a year, some people might call a fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
Or some species, I should say, not people, some species might call a day, or vice versa. Like what we call a day, they'd be like, that's like 2 years on my fucking world or dimension or whatever. Assuming they exist in the same universe or they're in another dimension. But like I said, time is just there. It's not something that can be controlled. It's not something that can be created. It's something that people make sets of rules around of so they can help them understand it.
Right, and yeah, like you said, that they might, and those rules or things are not might not even be accurate and even be, I mean, not even measuring time, but to be able to understand it, like, it, you know.
Yeah, I feel you.
Oh god,
But
it's a crazy world out there, guys.
it really is. And I know sometimes it might have seemed like we rambled off, but like all those things we talked about, they all coincide. Like I said, it all comes back to dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, if you want to think about it, like how my boy Austin said earlier about like how it's like your mind is focused on many things that you can't like access that one thing at that point in time. Think of it like a computer. Like if I have multiple things running all at once, my computer's processing power is going to be spread out all over the place. But if I have it fixated on like one thing, say if I'm editing a video and I have all this other shit running at the same time, the video is going to edit super slow because my processing power is spread out. But if I close everything and direct it all to one source, which is that program to edit that video, it's going to go 1,000 times faster. It's gonna go a lot smoother. That's like your brain. Your brain, when you wake up, you might not think about it, but your brain, everything you see, hear, touch, smell, your brain is recording and compiling all that data in like seconds to milliseconds to what's ever even shorter than milliseconds. So it's like until you are asleep, your brain is constantly active, absorbing everything around you. To where it's like you could never fully focus on it unless, like I said, like Austin brought up earlier, Buddhism or like any other religion that practices in meditation and blocking out like earthly attachments and desires, all that other stuff, where you could fixate on just one thing to where you could start learning how to do that at will. That's what dreams do. They block out everything else because it's basically your body's in rest mode and your brain is not shutting down, but it's slowing down in terms of absorbing all that information to where you could start accessing things that are already there, but you can go deeper.
Mm-hmm. That was well said. I like that.
Thank you, sir. I have my moments.
We all do.
But nah, like, anywho, we're getting a little late here. It's like an hour and 15 minutes, and as much as I want to sound smart, I'm kind of running out of smart things to say.
Nah, fair.
But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was a really interesting topic that me and Austin have been really wanting to discuss with people. And like I said, hit us up on our social medias. We'd love to hear your thoughts on some of the episodes we talk about, like the topics we bring up, like especially today. Like for those that hear this at one point or another, I want to be like hearing people's thoughts on this. Like, do you think the way we think, there times where you have dreams like some of the stuff we discuss? Like, let us know. We want to know.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah. Like, just hit us up on either Twitter or on Instagram. You can even you can hit me up at Austin at weirdandwoke.com. I believe that is my email. Let's see. Yes, Austin at weirdandwoke.com. You can even email me if you want.
There you go.
I'll keep a lookout, and yeah, just give us we just want your thoughts, and also if you have information you want to bring to us, or you might have some kind of different views you want to come on the show and talk about them, might be able to do that. You never know.
Hey, look, even if you don't agree with us at all, like, we still want to talk about, like, I want to hear what you don't agree with and why you think that way. Like, we're not here to judge. We're not here to shut down. We're here to spread knowledge all around and help people understand one another. Like, I want to understand your reasons and views behind the way you feel this way, just as I want you to understand why I feel this way, hence why me and Austin have these podcasts, why we say what we say, why we discuss what we discuss, because this is how we feel about not just, things going on in the world, just things in general. This is how our minds work. Like Austin said, he's very open-minded. I like to consider myself open-minded as well. There are things that I think about that I'm pretty sure most people don't even have come to their mind, and it's like you just think like, holy shit. And sometimes it's like a burden when you have all those thoughts, knowledge, and questions, and you don't have anyone to talk to. That's why we're here. We want you to be able to feel comfortable expressing those thoughts, opinions, and feelings. Because like I said, if you're not like someone who has like a title behind you and you say these things, it's just labeled as conspiracy and immediately shut down.
Mm-hmm. And like here at Weird and Woke, we don't judge. Weird and Woke is to represent, weird being yourself and, being unique, standing out from the masses. And then woke is just, people relate woke to some bullshit that fucking media was spewing off. But woke, in part, Weird and Woke, the woke part of the brand, the meaning behind woke is to be open-minded and conscious and to see things differently than normally you would perceive them to be. That's what woke here means, not some kind of riot and all this other crap.
Nah,
it's a whole different movement.
Basically, don't be the hard drive, be the cloud, be open to everything, absorb all the knowledge. Don't just take in certain points and portions and then delete out or block whatever the rest is. Like, be the cloud, be absorbing of everything, take everything in. And then eventually, like, we're not saying don't have an opinion of yourself or just listen to everybody. Like, take in all the things from all angles and then voice your own opinion to whatever conclusion you come up with. That's why it's called an opinion, not a fact. It's what you think, how you feel.
Just like we had a bunch of different opinions and facts, some facts tonight on the show.
Right. That's what we do.
Yeah. But yes, thank you for watching. Eventually you'll be able to watch on YouTube.
Yeah, whenever we get up there. But like I said, we're usually on Spotify. Whatever our distributor puts our shit on, because they'll be putting it on some places I'd never fucking heard of, so I'll let you know when I remember it. But usually Spotify and YouTube, whenever we upload it to YouTube, but it will be there as long as our previous episodes. And like I said,
sorry,
no, you're good. Basically, like we are trying to do these pre-recorded, so it's like we can kind of get like a schedule going. It's more so just our schedules in our personal lives, and then, like I said, coming up with topics to talk about. And that's another part where you guys come into play. Like, always hit us up if you have topics. Nothing is too silly, stupid, or annoying. We will talk about it if you're really invested in us. Definitely. Wanting to talk about it.
We also have, if you want the links to the different programs or apps to listen to the podcast, we also have a section on weirdandwoke.com for the podcast.
Yep. And at some point or another, we will be making a Discord group. So, like, if you guys want to join in that, have discussions on there, like, me and Austin will also be monitoring on that, because that's actually how we've been doing our podcast lately. We just do it through Discord. So I figured, why not just have that as another form of communication where we can come together and conversate and talk.
Especially if you're like from a different state or something.
Oh, definitely. Like, we're gonna get that set up, so we're gonna have that in the works in the coming week or two. And like I said, it'll be another way for you guys to communicate with each other, like communicate with us. Hell, like, that'll probably be like how we'll start having people on the podcast, because it's really easy to do. But
yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Sorry we kind of keep rambling on, but we just want to keep you updated on everything.
We'll make sure you guys have everything up to par.
Yes. Again, if you are a listener of the podcast, go to Weird and Woke. That's weird, the letter N, woke.com. and use the discount code WNWPOD. That's WNWPOD, all uppercase, for 15% off.